Hey, madam, put on this clothes. I'm not joking about it. You have to put on this clothes and do what I ask you to do. Or do you think money falls down from the tree? My dear, you have to earn your living yourself. Nothing here is for free. Even in Freetown, nothing is for free. Like my auntie always says, money does not grow on a tree. This is my story, and my name is Ofoye. In the dazzling and bustling city of Edo State, here lived my mother and my father. My father was a fisherman. He travels all the way to Onitsha Head Bridge to go get fish. And my mom will roast the fish and sell in the village market. We were very, very comfortable. We were really okay. Things were going on well as we were not paying for the fishes that we were getting. Whatever kind of fish my dad brings home, my mom tried to make the best use of them. And things were going on well for us. Like they say, fishermen were rich in their own ways. And that was how we were able to go to school. Everything was going on well in my home. Not until one fateful day, after I had returned from school, while I was sitting down and doing my assessments, some group of men brought my father and his nets filled with fishes. But this felt totally strange because my father was lying down and I heard a very loud scream, and that was my mom. My dad was brought back home dead. Everyone mourned with my family. Everyone cried with my family. My dad was a very generous man. He tried to reach out to the poor. He tried to reach out to people around him whenever he returned each day with his net of fish. So hearing that one of their person was no more, it broke lots of hearts. With the help of everyone around us, we were able to give Papa a befitting burial. As much as Papa was no more, everything changed in our house. Mama had no one to bring back fish for her to roast and sell. So she had to buy fish from the fishermen. And because of this, the stream of income wasn't coming the way it used to. Things gradually started becoming difficult. Mama didn't want to hope on anybody, but she tried. She tried to send us to school. I, Ofoye, was the first, and I had 2 junior brothers and a junior sister. I looked at how Mama was struggling. I had actually asked that I follow her to the market to help sell the fish faster, but Mama refused. And one fateful evening, Mama came back singing songs of praise, and we were all surprised. What happened? Did she hit a major target? What was it? And she told us that her sister down in Lagos had promised to help send I, Ofoye, to school, that she was going to see me through secondary school. I joined Mama to dance for joy. I was really happy. At least one burden had been lifted off her shoulder. Mama's sister Auntie Mercy kept on sending money and foodstuffs to us. She did it constantly for a long period of time. Auntie Mercy was able to see me through secondary school. And the moment I was done with secondary school, she had promised to send me to the university. But this time around, she had told Mama that I had to come stay with her in Lagos. And I will have to work in order to go to the university, because university is quite expensive. Mama had accepted. Mama was really happy. This was her own blood sister offering to help us. Auntie Mercy was Mama's immediate younger sister. Although she was elderly, she wasn't married. She had no child. We all concluded that Auntie Mercy was sowing a seed into our lives since she had no child of her own. Little did we know what Auntie Mercy was doing. 2 days to when I was supposed to go to Lagos, Mama went to the riverside and caught lots of fish. She smoked them patiently and made sure none of them got burnt, because I was supposed to travel with these fishes to Lagos. She wanted me to give it to her sister. And the moment I got to Lagos, I was highly welcomed by Auntie Mercy. I was a bit scared and a bit happy. Scared of the new environment, happy that I was going to go to university. And I really missed my siblings and my mom. But the moment I entered the room Auntie Mercy offered me, the room felt totally different. Neatly arranged. The bed was different from the type I used in the village. Everything was really, really comfortable. Auntie Mercy quickly asked me to unpack. And the moment I did, I gave her the fish Mama had asked me to give to her. She sounded excited, and I really hope she felt excited. Mama did it from the bottom of her heart. And the moment we were done, catching up, Auntie Mercy asked me to eat and rest, that my job begins tomorrow. I remembered Mama saying that I was going to Lagos to work in order to go to school. I wasn't even feeling bad about it. I was already ready to work. I also hoped that from the money I got from my work, I was going to send something home for Mama. And the next day, I started as a maid in Auntie Mercy's house. I cleaned the house every day, from the top to the bottom. Auntie Mercy was very nice to me. She gave me food 3 times a day. She even allowed me go out to stroll out and know my environments. I was very happy. If this was the job she was talking about, it wasn't bad. But a few months down the line, my job increased. Apart from cleaning Auntie Mercy's house, I started cleaning Auntie Mercy's office. In this office, I saw huge chunks of money. But one thing I never did was to steal her money. I was 16 at that time. I never knew that Auntie Mercy was gradually grooming me. And the years came faster than I even expected. And the moment I turned 18, that very night, Auntie Mercy came with a cupcake to wish me happy birthday. I was happy. I haven't had cake ever since my dad died. I was really happy. I blew the candle and said the wish. The moment I was done with everything I was doing, Auntie Mercy handed me a gown and I was confused. And she told me, put on this gown. It's time for you to resume your real work. I was a bit surprised. Which other work? But the gown wasn't even looking decent. The gown was really looking skimpy. And I asked her, Auntie, why am I putting on this skimpy gown? Auntie Mercy laughed and said, come, are you pretending to be naive or are you naive? Don't you know the type of job I do here? Don't you? Or do you think money grows on tree? Or do you think everything I've been doing for you and your family was for free? My dear, you're here to pay me back my money. And when you're done paying me back my money, then you save to go to school. I'm not a charity case, so I am not someone that gives money for free. Go and ask around Lagos. They know me. Madam Mercy, I don't give out my money for free. So please put it on and follow me. I started crying immediately. That was when I remembered the girls I always saw in her office coming to me with huge chunks of money. I never knew what these girls were doing. I only thought that she was running a business and lending them money and they were coming to pay off their loan. I put on the gown and followed Auntie Mercy. And lo and behold, she took me to her beer parlor. And she kept me in front of a pole and told me to follow the footsteps of other ladies. And when I looked around, these ladies seriously dancing in front of this pole, trying to attract guys to spray them money. I knew I could dance, but I couldn't dance in that kind of crowd. Auntie Mercy looked at me and told me, if you don't make money today, you will see the other side of me. And she left. I stood there shivering and shivering. No one came to my aid. They all looked at me like, if you're not serious, please get out of the way. I kept on looking at myself and looking at my environment. I wasn't able to do much. That was my first time. I wasn't even given a prior notice. So what was I supposed to do? When I was done crying, I sat down on the floor and even enjoyed the way other people shared the people that were dancing. But that very night, Auntie Mercy did not say anything. The next morning, when I woke up, there was no food for me. When I was done cleaning everywhere in the house, I went to her office and cleaned the office, but there was no food for me either. That same evening, Auntie Mercy handed me another cloth and told me, this is your next shot. If you try me, you will see the worst. I put on the gown, and that day I made up my mind to dance. Because I could not starve. My stomach was already pleading for mercies. My intestines were raging for food. I put my best and I made sure I danced like no other. I danced and danced and danced and twisted myself on the pole. I just wanted people to notice me and spray me money so that I could eat. My intention that moment wasn't even anything but food. I needed food, and like luck may have it, people noticed me and started spraying me money. People even asked, who is this new girl? She's really good. I threw myself on the pole like as if my life depended on it. When I was done for that day, Auntie Mercy cheered me up and told me, I know you had it in you. You were only pretending like you don't know what we were doing here. And she gave me some money and told me, this is your own paycheck for today. The remaining, I'm sending it home to your mom. If I hear you tell your mom what you're doing here in Lagos, you're going to see. You better tell her that you're working as a maid. And I told her, yes, ma. Thank you, ma. The money Auntie Mercy had given to me wasn't even enough compared to what was prayed to me. But I remembered that she said I was owing her money. So I had to keep my mouth shut. I continued doing this for a long period of time. I kept on dancing and dancing. Auntie Mercy kept on giving me little pay. And I accepted it with a whole heart because I was certain that she sent money home, so I wasn't bothered. If she was sending little money home, that was enough for me. Whether she claimed the money was from herself or from me, what mattered was that my siblings were still going to school. I kept on putting my best into this. One fateful evening, while I was dancing, a man, when he was done spraying me money, he walked up to me and wanted to get my number. But I told him that I did not have a phone. And he looked at me and asked me, why are you pretending? How can a young girl like you not have a phone? But I told him that I really don't have a phone. And he gave me bundles of money and asked me to get a phone. That the next time we meet, he will want to get my number. I quickly collected the money and hid it because I didn't want Auntie Mercy to see it. And that same evening, I kept the money at the bottom of my box. Not because I didn't have a phone, but because Auntie Mercy's rule was never to give out a number to a total stranger. If not, you're going to get caught up in something. She once warned me, do you know why I'm still in business? Because the whole Lagos does not have my number. The moment you start giving out your number, that is how they will give out your number to another person, and they keep referring you to different people. So be very, very careful. I had a phone, but we never take our phone to work. The phone remains at home. All that matters to us was to come to work, dance, get the pay, and leave. Auntie Mercy will always say, live like you don't exist. They come here to enjoy your work, and the moment they are done, you leave. But gradually, Auntie Mercy started referring me to VIP clients. People I will go to a particular room and dance for them. Move my body like a snake. I kept on doing it because the more the VIP, the bigger the pay. VIP clients pay more than the people on a regular crowd. So I continued doing it. And I noticed that the pay from Auntie Mercy was also gradually increasing. I was very, very comfortable with it because I was eating 3 square meals in Auntie Mercy's place. I had a roof over my head and she kept on sending money home. So I wasn't even bothered about it. One fateful evening, Auntie Mercy told me that a special client was coming, and I thought that all that mattered was for me to go and dance. Is that not it? But this time around, she took me to a total different room. And I was very, very confused. I wasn't even allowed to come out from the room throughout the night. I was just kept there like a cake being baked for a birthday celebrant. She dolled me up with makeup, made me look so beautiful. The moment the very special client, as she claimed, came in, he was an elderly man. He sat down and looked at me and told me what a beautiful girl. They told me that you're beautiful. You're really beautiful. I was looking at this man trying to understand what was going on here. And he asked me, why are you pretending like you don't know what you're here for? And I was confused. What am I here for? Am I not here to dance for you? I quickly asked him. And he said, no, dance for me. Let me introduce myself. I am Chief. And before he could say his other name, I said, okay, good day, Chief. What do you want me to do for you? And he asked me, are you new? And I said, yes. Then he told me, every new girl that comes here has to go through me. I am the Oga here. I wasn't even interested in whatever he had to say. Oga, get fast and let's get this whole thing done. But the next minute, I noticed that Chief wanted to lay with me. And I told him, sir, sorry, but I can't do this. And he looked at me and said, are you okay? I told him, sir, yes, I'm okay. And he told me, okay, don't worry. They all acted like you. They don't want to do it. But the moment they do it, they will like it. And I smiled and said, okay, no problem, sir. Sir, can I use myself? And he said, go and use yourself. And I quickly jumped out from the window. I sustained lots of injury. My neck, my legs. I was really happy to be slim at that point in time. But from that place, I went to Auntie Mercy's house. I packed all my belongings and left. I was ready to do anything to make money, but I wasn't ready to sleep with anybody at that time. I was just 20. I had a life ahead of me. If I start sleeping with someone now, what will I do much later in life? I had asked myself. And the moment I left Auntie Mercy's place, I never looked back. I kept on running. I found myself in a very decent hotel. I had paid for the night and slept. And when I woke up the next morning, I needed to navigate my life. I did not know anywhere in Lagos apart from Auntie Mercy's place. What was I supposed to do? I quickly asked around for a big beer parlor because I needed to negotiate with another person to resume work. The moment I got the name of a very big beer parlor that also permits people to come and dance, I had to ask the boss to give me a space. The boss looked at me and asked me if I was good, and I told him yes, that I was good, and we drew a contract because Auntie Mercy taught me very well about all those things, stating your quotes, knowing your worth. And I told him that the split was 60-40, to which he agreed. But he told me that I have to work very hard because all his girls here are very good. I accepted. What mattered at that time was somewhere I was going to stay. The boss there had recommended me to an apartment where I could pay and live. And I was really, really happy. But the moment I got to the apartment, it was crowded with girls. And I didn't want somewhere like that. I wanted somewhere quiet, somewhere different. I was already tired of the nightlife and coming back to meet the same people I already knew. So I decided to get a separate place, somewhere very quiet, somewhere no one even knew my name. The pay was equivalent to all the money I had saved with Auntie Mercy, but I wasn't bothered. All that mattered for me was that I needed somewhere different, somewhere no one knew me. So every night I left my house and I would go to the club to dance. With Auntie Mercy's rule, I was able to survive in this new beer parlor. All that mattered for me was to dance, get my money and split it with the beer parlor as we agreed. As the days went by, I noticed that people always wanted me to dance for them privately. So with this, I had to talk to one of the bar attendants to be my girl. Her name was Tosi. Tosi is a very good girl. She was the bar attendant. She had me gathered my money. And when I was done for the day, the moment I split the money 40-60 with my oga, I gave Tosi 10% because she has been the one protecting my money while I was dancing, both in the crowd and privately. I was really happy that Tosi came my way. Tosi was a blessing in disguise. Tosi never cheated me for one day. Everything was moving on fine. I never knew if Auntie Mercy was sending money home or not, but I made sure I kept on sending money home. And whenever my mom asked me about school, I just told her that school was fine. Since Auntie Mercy had already lied to her that I was already in school, I just kept on playing the card that I was in school. The day that changed everything in my life was the day a man accused me for stealing his gold wristwatch. I was just entering the private room, and how come he was accusing me for stealing his gold wristwatch? This man nearly ripped my clothes apart. But one young man came in and saved the day. He quickly told the young man that he had been observing everything from where he was seated, and I wasn't the one that stole the gold wristwatch. And the man was very aggressive and said, "How are you sure? Who told you?" But this young man in question quickly told him that the lady that came in here before this one should be questioned too. And lo and behold, the other lady that had entertained him before I came was the one that took the wristwatch. I never knew that other girls in the bar were against me, so they were looking for a way to get me kicked out. If not for the young man that has saved the day, I would have been the one accused for the gold wristwatch that was stolen. After I was done for the day, for the very first time in my life, I decided to talk to a customer outside the beer parlor. I worked with this customer for a short period of time, I thanked him very well for saving the day. I was really grateful for everything he did for me. The fact that I was not the thief and someone came through for me made me really happy. This young man looked at me, but he did not want to condemn nor judge me. But he quickly told me, if you know you've made lots of money from this, it's better for you to start a life. You can't continue doing this forever. I looked at him, I smiled, and I said, thank you. He asked for my number, and I told him that I don't have a phone. He quickly understood that I didn't want to give him my number, and he gave me his complimentary card. I collected the complimentary card. I promised to keep in touch. I just wanted to thank him for saving my life, and we departed ways. But the way and manner I misplaced this complimentary card was what I did not know, because I had kept it in my clothes, hoping that I was going to keep in touch much later. The moment I got home that day, I sat down and thought about everything this young man had said. What he said was true. I had made tons of money from this. I had enough of money to get myself a land. I had made lots and lots of money because I know the amount I charge back VIP clients. And when I was done thinking about this, I didn't want to go back to the bar. Remembering what had happened that night, I went back to the bar and I terminated my contract. Moreover, my contract was already ended with them. It just remained 1 week. I terminated it and I left. That same day, I quickly got myself a shop. I did not want to rent the shop. I paid for the whole building because I asked myself, even if I go to school, how will I pay my school fees when this money gets finished? The money in my bank, when it gets finished, how will I pay my school fees? So I got myself a shop and I started selling clothes. I make sure to use the little connects I have from the bar girls and everyone to get customer to patronize me. Then I registered in a nursing school and I started going to school. I felt really fulfilled. And whenever I called home, I was glad to see that school was fine because truly I was going to school. Things were going on well for me. Tosin also resigned from the bar and became my manager at my boutique. Tosin was handling the business perfectly fine and I was paying Tosin well. Things were going on well for me. Everything was moving fine. For the first time in my life, I did not hate my auntie. Yes, she made me a club dancer at a young age. But truth be told, I ended up being a better person than she is. I ended up choosing a better path in life. Not because I wanted to, but because this young man, I have forgotten his name, made me to. The way he spoke to me that night made me realize that I should stop being greedy and focus in life. And with the passing days, I was done with nursing school and I got a job in a very beautiful hospital on the island. I was carrying out my nursing activities very well. However, I was running shift. Whenever I was not at the hospital, I went to my boutique. Things were going on well. I kept on sending money home. My siblings were going to school. My brothers were already in university. And I was living a very comfortable life. Until one fateful night, I was already done for work that day. I was about heading home. The nurses were pleading with me to stay back as they were short-staffed. But I told them I wasn't going to stay back as I had done 3 night shifts in a row and I needed that rest. But as I was leaving the hospital, I noticed they were rushing an elderly man into the hospital. I didn't show any concern. I was ready to go home. But the moment I looked forward, I noticed that young man, the young man that saved me that night. He was seriously running and shouting, Dad, I'm here with you. Everything is going to be fine. At that very moment, I didn't know what happened. But I noticed that I dropped my bag. I held the elderly man's bed and wheeled him straight to the theater. Other of my colleagues were looking at me. No one even understood what happened. Neither did I. But I noticed that I was ready to attend to this elderly man. I changed to the theater way and I stood as the nurse on duty till the doctor was done attending to him. Even when the doctor was done, I followed him to his room and made sure to monitor him till he was stable. The young man had noticed me, but I didn't want to pay much attention to him. I just wanted his father to be okay because I felt that we were going to have much to talk about when his father was stable. His father was involved in a car accident and had broken his spleen. The doctor had to carry out an emergency operation. Everything went well and his father was recovering perfectly fine. I spent the night in the hospital. I made sure his father was okay. I did not even go back home the next morning. Rather, I took my bath in the nurse's quarters and returned back to work. I just wanted to stay and be sure his father was okay. I took his father as my personal patient. I was with his father till his father was 100% okay, ready to be discharged. 2 days to when his father was to be discharged, a young man walked up to me and told me, "Thank you very much. I noticed that you never left my father's bedside. Thank you." And he wanted to tip me, and I looked at him and asked him, "Don't you remember me?" The man looked closely and he shook his head and said, "No, I don't." And I tried to remind him who I was. And he screamed and said, "How are you?" I said, "I'm fine." And he asked me, "What's your name again? Because that day I can't even remember if you told me your name." And I told him, "I'm Ovi." And I asked him, "What's your name?" And he said his name was Thank God. And I was like, "How are you doing? I'm very, very sorry. I really wanted to keep in touch, but I did not even know how. I misplaced your complimentary card." Thank God was relieved. And he asked me, "So you became a nurse?" And I told him, "Yes, I took your word for it. And I chased my dream of becoming a nurse." He was happy. He was really excited. And he quickly reminded me that I owed him a lunch, as I promised back then that I was going to take him for a lunch to thank him for saving me. And I told him that I was going to keep to it. And this time around, we exchanged numbers formally. Not because I wasn't proud of who I was, but because I am proud of who I am now. Thank God was happy that I turned out to be a better person. After his father was discharged, I gave him a while to take care of his father, knowing fully well that his father was still in the recovering process. 1 week down the line, I invited him for lunch and we had a very beautiful lunch. Asked him about himself, about work, how life was treating him and everything. Thank God was just happy. He kept on praising me for being a better person. He never believed I was going to take his word for it. He never even believed that we were ever going to cross paths. And I asked him about himself, his nature of job and everything. Thank God told me he was an engineer and things were going on well. That very night that he had saved me was the very first day he had resumed work in his father's company. Out of that time, he was just done with school. So that was his first day there. And when he noticed everything, he felt bad. Truth be told, like he said, he was attracted to me and wanted to know more about me. So he kept on using his eyes to follow my movements. So he noticed what happened that night and decided to save me. And that was the last day he ever went to the bar. So he said. We had a very peaceful lunch. We enjoyed every bit of the meal. And when we were done, Thank God told me to keep in touch, as he would love to keep in touch with me. I never asked Thank God about being single or married. We just kept in touch on a very regular, clean level, being that we had history before. Thank God made sure to check up on me, either at work or at my boutique. He was really glad with my establishment. I, on my part, was glad with my establishment. I told myself the moment I'm able to build my own home, I was going to bring my mom and sibling over to Lagos. Little did I know that God had a better plan for me, because I wasn't even able to build my home before Thank God proposed to get married to me. I didn't want to accept his proposal, being that I had a past history and I didn't even know if he knew much about it, and I didn't know if he was okay about it. When I told Thank God my fears about accepting his engagement, he had told me not to worry. He had told me that what mattered to him was who I am now and not who I used to be. The truth there was that I did not hide it from him. He did not recognize me, but I wasn't even ashamed to tell him who I was. He was okay with it. I was really happy. Happy that someone was ready to accept me for who I am. Someone was ready to neglect my past and accept me for who I am. After the marriage, I told Thank God about my building, the house I had already started, and how I wanted my mom and my siblings to move over to Lagos. Thank God helped me with some finance and we were able to finish the building. My mom and siblings came to Lagos and started staying in Lagos. My mom helped me work in my boutique. She wasn't used to it. She preferred going to hawk fish in the market, but I told her that every means of income is a means. What mattered was selling the clothes in the boutique the way she would have sold her fish. So she was willing to help me handle it, since I was also still working as a nurse. Thank God was really grateful after the marriage because he found out that I was still a virgin. The fact that I was dancing in the club never made me sell my virginity to anyone. He never even expected me to be one, but he was glad for that. He praised me for it and always believed that I was a better version of the people he used to see in the club. My life moved on smooth. Gradually, I came in terms with everything that had happened in my life, and I had to tell my mom and siblings the truth. My mom had threatened to go and meet her sister, and she wanted to cut off ties with her sister, but I told my mom not to do that. That even if her sister was bad, it was that bad that made me a better person. What mattered was that I learned from my mistake and I became a better version of myself. My mom had to understand the situation. I also had to make sure I call Auntie Mercy. I was angry the previous years and never wanted to keep in touch. But now that I know I was a better person, I had the courage to call her. I called Auntie Mercy and told her that I wanted to see her. When she saw me, she screamed and said, "Ovie, you've become a big woman." And I smiled and said, "Auntie, thank you, because the word you introduced me to ended up making me a better person. I really hated you before, but now I have forgiven you for everything." My auntie smiled and said, Thank you for forgiving me. I wasn't proud of what I did, but I am glad that you didn't end up being bad." But I looked at her and said, "How come when I left your house, you did not even bother looking for me?" My auntie smiled and said, "Who told you that I did not look for you? I knew where you were working. So I wanted you to have your own space. Moreover, you were already done paying me. How much was your school fees back in the village? You already stayed with me for 2 years. 2 years was enough for you to pay your money. So I let you be. If you were still owing me, I would have come to that place to collect my money. Like I said, Madam Mercy's money does not go to waste." I smiled with her. I understood her rules and regulation. What mattered to me was that I became a better version of myself. Life continued for everyone in peace. Everyone was living in peace. My mom was handling the business gradually. Though she was giving Tosin trouble, but Tosin gradually understood that she was an elderly woman. My brothers were doing well in their own field of study. When my first brother graduated, he joined my husband, thank God, in the company, and life was going on smooth and fine for us. Much later in life, I had given birth to a very beautiful baby girl, and she was named Isosa, thank God. Thank you very much for listening to my story. My name still remains Ovie. Thank you very much for listening to this beautiful story of the day. We remain your favorite storyteller, Sika. Please, I'd like you to share what you've learned from this. I'd like you to drop 1 or 2 in the comment section. And also, please, I'd like you to share stories to your loved ones. So we'll see you again in our next story. Bye for now.